Big up everyone, welcome back to the Rugby League History channel. Hope you're all well on this Wednesday. Tonight's video is going to be titled What's Going On with the West Tigers, and this follows on from a video I did about 3 months ago called What's Going On with St George. I'm going to talk about the club and what's going on with them at the moment. It's been another disappointing year for the club. They're not going to be playing finals this year. So as of next year, it's going to be 10 years since they played finals. The club once again is in a bit of turmoil. There's player unrest. There's talk about the coach either leaving or axing a lot of players and starting from scratch yet again. So I'm going to talk about the club and talk about some issues the club is facing or has faced in the past, and give a brief overview to tell you why they're in the predicament they are. Before I start the actual video, I do want to say that I want the West Tigers to be successful. I want them to be a successful club. They're a major of 2 clubs which I admire greatly, Belmead and Western Suburbs. I want West Tigers to be successful on and off the field. When they are successful, they got a big supporter base, and it's good for the game when Wests are playing well. Now, what's got them into this position? It's just been, you can see, about 8 or 9 years of bad decisions on and off the field with recruitment, how the club's run, who's running the club. They last played finals in 2011. Now, they should have made the preliminary final that year, but they choked in the semi-final against New Zealand, and that was their last ever finals appearance. 2012, they missed out on the finals, and I think this is where the problem started. They sacked Tim Sheens. So we got them into the top 4 the year before in 2011, and in 2012 they missed out on the finals and he was sacked. He was replaced by Michael Potter. Now, he only lasted 2 years where the club missed out on the finals and he was sacked. Now, the thing with Michael Potter and Tim Sheens was they were still in contract, so the club had to pay out their contracts. By the time they got the 3rd head coach, Jason Taylor, he lasted another 2 years and then he was sacked towards the back end of the year. That was 3 coaches in a row that they sacked, and all 3 coaches were still being paid off when they got Ivan Cleary on board. Ivan Cleary was hailed as probably the saviour, the coach that was going to get them out of the doldrums, and it just didn't happen. He ended up walking out on the club and signing with Penrith, and then he sent a text message to the players wishing them all the best, which I kind of found a bit unprofessional. And now they're with Michael Maguire. The club's also had some very poor recruitment decisions over the last, you could see, 8 or 9 years. They've recruited very poorly, but they've let go some players that are now doing well at other clubs or have done well at other clubs. And some of them, just off the top of my head, which I wrote down today, are Curtis Sirenen, Marty Tapau, Josh Adokar, Ryan Pappenhausen, James Tedesco, Mitchell Moses, Andrew Fafita, Chris Heinington, Marika Corabetti, and Tavita Totola, just to name a couple. And also Blake Austin as well. You could probably throw him in there as another player. So you got all these players that they've let go, or they've let go from a junior level, and they've now excelled at other clubs. Another big problem for the West Tigers in the last couple of years has been when Jason Taylor was the head coach. They had the Big 4 scenario where you had Luke Brooks, Mitchell Moses, James Tedesco and Aaron Woods all off contract and all looking to leave the club due to Jason Taylor being the head coach. Now, out of that, you'd think, look, we're trying to get James Tedesco to sign at all costs necessary, and same with probably Mitchell Moses. But in the end, they ended up losing Woods, Moses and Tedesco and keeping the waste player out of the 4, which was Luke Brooks. So that was another big problem that the West Tigers had, which falls into the recruitment and the retention. Now, if you look at the players that they've brought in over the last couple of years, or especially this year, they signed Joey Lee Louis on big money when he hadn't even played a game for the club, and he comes out and says, "I'm the best centre in the world." They've also signed some players that haven't performed well over the last couple of years. I think, especially with the coaching, they haven't been patient with coaches. I mean, Tim Sheens, he makes the top four, and then the first year that they don't make the finals, after that he gets shot. So I think with the current coach, Michael Maguire, he's a proven winner. He's someone that has done well in the NRL in the past and over here in England. I think he just needs time. He's inherited a roster from previous regimes, from Taylor and from Cleary, and it's going to take some time to rectify that. I mean, just from being a Parramatta fan, Brad Arthur, he inherited the rosters from Stephen Kearney, and you could see Daniel Anderson and Ricky Stewart, and it took a couple of years to fix that roster and to get it back up to a level where the club could be competitive. I think looking at this current squad that they got now, there are some players, because there has been talk, there has been rumours that Michael Maguire is looking to axe players, he's looking to overhaul the squad. And I tell you, there's a lot of players there that I don't think should be there for next year. And looking at the roster now, I'd definitely move on Luke Brooks. I would definitely move on Robert Jennings. Chris Lawrence is going, as we all know, he's retiring. Joey Lee Louis, I'd be looking to move him on. I'd also be looking to move on Moses Mbai, who I think is probably one of the most overrated players in the NRL. Elijah Taylor, I think he needs to go. And Josh Reynolds, he also needs to go as well. There's some players on some big money there that are just eating up space on the cap. They've recruited one good player for next year, Stefano Atoy-Kamanu is his name, from Parramatta. They've also got a couple of up-and-coming players like Tommy Talau and Thomas McKeely, and they've also signed Asu Kapoe, and they've got a couple of other development players coming through, but first off they need to clear out that deadwood, and I think signing Joey Lee Lewis has been a very poor signing for the West Tigers. I think also the way that the board's run and some of the decisions has been very poor, and it's come back to bite them. I think the way that the board's run at the moment is very poor, and the way that the club's run as a whole is very poor. Benji Marshall's been told that he's not required after the end of this year, and then he was seeing on Fox Sports that he found out that he wasn't required through the Daily Telegraph or one of the papers. He had to find it out through the newspaper. Nobody at the club told him, and then it was only after he approached the club that he got an answer saying, yeah, you're no longer required after next year. The club also, I think, is mentally weak in some regards, because they've come ninth 6 times since 2000. They've come ninth 6 times since 2000. And I think on 3 or 4 of those occasions, it come down the last game of the year where if they win, they make the top 8. If they lose, they don't make the top 8. And on all 4 of those occasions, they've lost. So there's some, I think it might be in the playing group, or it might be some sort of mentality thing that's wrong with the club, where they just can't sort of get themselves into the finals. But I think as a whole, the club needs to hold on to Michael Maguire as the head coach. He's a proven winner. He just needs time with the squads. He needs to make the squad the way that he wants it, and to get rid of the deadwood from the previous regimes. The West Tigers brand as a whole, it's a good brand. You've got the best of Belmead and Western Suburbs. You've got the league clubs from the Western Suburbs side of it, I know the Belmean side of the league's club at the moment's been a bit of a shambles for the last, you can see, 10 years or so, but I've heard that there's talks about they're going to be redeveloping that, and I mean, Belmean and Western Suburbs, both of them have a proud history. They got a big supporter base, as you can see, and loyal followers from both clubs that have now continued that on to West Tigers. And we've seen in the past, in years gone by, when West have been successful, 2005, 2010, 2011, the fans come out in droves. And I think in some ways this club has a lot of potential, but they just need to fix up the boards. They need to fix up the way that they do things. They need to fix up the player retention and recruitment, and they just need to hold on to Michael Maguire. I think a lot of the players that are playing in the current squads over the next couple of weeks are going to be playing for their futures. So I expect performances from West to be a bit better than what we've seen, because a lot of them are probably expecting a tap on the shoulder, or they probably don't want the tap on the shoulder, so they're going to be going out there and playing for their careers basically. But that's some of my thoughts on what's going on with the West Tigers at the moment. And as I said at the start of the video, I want this club to be successful. I want this club to do well. So that's the end of my video. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click that like button. If you're enjoying the content that I'm making, click that subscribe button and click that notification bell so you get an email when I do a new video. As always, everyone, look after yourselves. Catch us all later. Tatty bye.